Hi everyone, my name is Beth and I am a Why Choose romance author and reader, and today I am here with a bunch of my favorite Why Choose romance recommendations. So without further ado, let's just jump straight into the video. My first recommendation is a college romance, and this also has hidden identity and some very I want to say soft girl vibes, and that is Dance Butterfly Dance by Reese Rivers. This is a duet. It is complete as well, and I definitely feel like this is one of my favorites because there's something addictive about the style of the writing and the way that the men in this book are portrayed. I'm really sorry if you can hear noise in the background. I have some construction going on at my house at the moment, so I'm sorry if you can hear that. So anyway, this book is definitely one of my top reads. I've read it a couple of times now. It is a comfort read, and I do enjoy the hidden identity. We've got a different sort of mix of MMCs in this book as well, and you can tell them apart, which I really like. Sometimes they do sort of blend in together. We do have fake dating in this one as well. The FMC really loves to cook, so that is one of those aspects of that soft girl vibe. We also have that I want to say like the Princess Diary style rags to riches, in the sense that the FMC is kind of overlooked because of being very plain, but when we come to that hidden identity, there's like a twofold aspect to the hidden identity. So the way that unfolds towards the end does leave you really craving more, and in the sequel there is a grovel aspect as well, so that's what makes this book one of my favorites. Next book that I have for you is a contemporary Why Choose romance. This is probably one of the spicier ones in the selection that I have as well, and that is Scandalous by Calla Riley. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I actually really liked with this one the unique aspect. I hadn't sort of read anything like this before, where it's actually based on social media influencers. So the FMC in this is a lifestyle influencer, that you could say, in an app called Pick App. So it's kind of based on like a Instagram kind of feel. And the MMCs are already an existing group who are also influencers as well, and they sort of have a relationship that starts online quite publicly, and then they sort of do a combined get together, which obviously fans love, and then the romance goes from there. There is an existing romance in this as well, so this does have and like I said, this is quite spicy as well. It's probably one of the spicier ones on this list, but I did find it just a really light-hearted, more unique and easy to read contemporary romance. The next book on this list is probably one of my favorites, and I recommend it quite a lot, and it is a Omegaverse. I never used to think that Omegaverse was my thing, and this was probably the second or third Omegaverse book that I read, and it's just stuck with me so much. It's also one of the more emotional books on this list, and that is Broken Bonds by K.L. Moore, and this one starts intense. It made me cry in the first few pages, so it is one of those like rip your heart out, put it back together books. I did go in kind of blind. The only thing I knew about this was it was like quite emotional. It is a slower burn Omegaverse as well, which I kind of like, because Omegaverse, the genre itself, is quite spicy a lot of the time, so I did enjoy that this was quite a slow burn, and it's very focused on the emotional aspects. This does have a Omega who loses her pack, and it does have the MMCs coming in who were related. One of them was related to one of her pack members, and she's pregnant at the time, and they come in to help her, and it's their romance that starts. So it does have, I don't want to give away too much because I know a lot of people focused with Omegaverse on making sure there is that like fated mate, like bond aspect, and there is that component in there as well, even though she did lose her pack. in the beginning. So definitely check this one out. It is a very emotional book, but it's one of my absolute favorites. The next book I have for you is also by one of my favorite authors, and that is Grace McGinty. And this is a standalone cowboy romance. It's 8 Seconds to Fly. I love a good cowboy romance in general, but what I liked about this one was it wasn't just the cowboy aspect. This is actually bull riding specifically, and it follows the FMC who has grown up around that entire atmosphere and has lost her father and lost her friends to a certain degree. They're kind of frenemies now, who are all involved in this bull riding aspect, and it follows her wanting to be the first female bull rider, and it kind of goes from there. It does have that little bit more aspect of tension between the MMCs and not wanting to share. It is a little bit spicy in comparison to a couple of the others that are on this list, but I do like that this is a really good balance of plot and spice, and the relationships developing. And for a standalone, like, it's not super chunky, but for a standalone, like, you're not left feeling like there should have been more to the story. So it's definitely one of my favorites by Grace McGinty to check out. So the next book I have for you is from a fellow Australian author, and one of my favorites as well. I've been following her for years and I do love her books, and that is Elle Thorpe. This is from her Saints View series. So these are a collection of trilogies within a shared universe or shared world. This is the Saint View Psychos specifically, and the book is Start a War. This is book 1. The series is complete as well, and I think this is one of my favorites, maybe because it's the first one that I read going into this universe and into this world, but I also did like the balance of the MMCs within this as well. Elle is known for writing a really good balance of that sort of darker romance, but also having humour within the book as well. And there's one particular MMC in this who has a split personality, and he's just... he's a great ride, great fun ride. Let's just put it that way. But we do follow the FMC here, who has lost her brother, and it's her story of trying to sort of find out what happened to her brother. Her and her brother kind of grew up in nothing. They came from nothing, and it's her following out what happened to her brother because he was unalived. And getting in contact with one of his best friends. So we do have that age gap, sort of slightly older MMC, and we do have we have a motorcycle club that comes into it as well. And there is a forming MM relationship that does come about from this as well, which I think out of all of the books that I've read with MM relationships, the way this one kind of forms is a little bit more unique, and I think that's because of the male character that's in one of the male characters that's involved within this relationship. I don't sort of want to give it away too much to spoil the plot, but I definitely recommend checking this one out if you want that mixture of sort of dark romance, suspense, a little bit of humor, and then that spicy aspect being thrown in as well. There's like a good balance of spice and plot, and I would recommend all of this series, every book in this entire universe and the entire world as well. I haven't read the most current ones, but yeah, I definitely recommend checking everything that Elle does out because she is always a hit when it comes to her books. Last one I have for you is also from one of my favorite authors, and this has become more of a recent favorite author, even though I had read this book and this series a year or so ago. I went back to it as a comfort read, and then I ended up rereading her entire backlist, and that is Blake Black, and the book is Whisper Waves. So Blake, I mean, you can see here is my shelf just for Blake's books. This is a duet, so Blake always writes in duet style, and she has that like good mix of hurt, comfort, gritty kind of romance that has darker aspects, but it always has that like balance of light as well. And we do have some grovel aspects in this as well, not as much as I think you see in Dance Butterfly Dance that was recommended, but we do have a grovel component as well. I love this book because of the uniqueness. It kind of gets classified under paranormal romance, but I would say it's like paranormal light, because it's predominantly contemporary romance, but it has one tiny aspect that would be classified as like paranormal, and that's because the FMC in this book can see ghosts or spirits. So it follows her story of going to this coastal town, and while she's there, she's looking for work. So she has a van, she's a mechanic as well, and she's looking for work, has this van that's sort of like struggling, hasn't got a lot of cash to her, and she runs into, like, she meets this ghost after having a one night stand with someone at a bar, and the ghost ends up sort of like helping her and getting involved, and it turns out that the ghost is the brother of one of the MMCs who she had the one night stand with, and she tries to go for a job at their boating place. I don't know what it's called. shipyard. So yeah, and it does have I want to say mental health rep. It has a MMC who is disabled as well, who has lost his leg, which I really did like, and the story behind that is quite emotional. This is one of those books I think that has such a good balance of the emotion that pulls at you through everyone's stories because of how they're dealing with things. We do have a single dad in this as well. There's like such a good mixture of MMCs. They are all brothers, and the way that the dynamics sort of play out with the FMC, and we also have really nice side characters as well, as like we do have those relationships that form with side characters that aren't just kind of like just there for additional plot aspects. They do become part of the story as well. So I definitely recommend checking this one out. I think all of Blake's books are really good, but this one is definitely my favorite that's on her list as well. I wanted to add a bonus book after talking about the Whisper Waves book, and that is another one of Reese Rivers' books as well, and that's called Unbreak Me. This is a standalone book, and it is a single mum on the run, and we do have the MMCs who have this is the reason why I wanted to recommend it. We have a disability rep as well. We have one of the MMCs in this who has also lost his leg, and we have 3 MMCs in here, and she's on the run from her abusive ex and with her daughter, and she ends up getting into trouble. It's in the middle of winter, and she's like sleeping in her car, and one of the MMCs comes to sort of help her and let them stay with them, to keep her safe. And we do have ex-military MMCs in this as well, who have also got their own sort of trauma that they're overcoming, and it's about the sort of slow burn romance that comes from that. This is a slower burn. We do have spice. We do have really nice interactions of seeing the MMCs connect with the daughter as well, which as a mum myself, I always love reading about kids in the books, and we do see a really interesting dynamic that happens with the MMCs with the daughter in this, and the FMC in this is also that soft life FMC. She loves to cook and do that kind of thing. So it's a really, even though it has like those darker aspects and the darker backstories, it's not really a dark book. I would classify it as a contemporary, just with that like angst or trauma in the past. It's quite an easy read. It's not a super thick book, and I personally felt satisfied after this. I know some people say it's not quite enough spice for them, but if you're wanting something that is a really good balance of plot and spice, and that slower burn, I definitely recommend this one. So that is all my recommendations for you today. Please let me know in the comments if there is a particular genre that you would like me to go into depth with, and I will see you in the next video.